Hi everyone. Our topic is strategic decision processes in high velocity environments, the four cases in the microcomputer industry, and my group members are Temitope Umidia, Blessing Olajoye, and I, Chidiman Obeze. The background study of this article had a major question, and it says how the executive makes strategic decisions in a high velocity environment. There are two predominant views on how executive teams should make key decisions, and that had to do with the rationale, comprehensive approach, and the alternative approach. The introduction to this article has a concept of high velocity environment and the relevance of understanding decision processes in such an environment. Had concepts like the high velocity environment challenges the conventional strategies to the ineffectiveness of traditional approaches, decision making dilemma, leadership dynamics, and balancing risks and implementation. The high velocity environment challenges had dramatic and unpredictable charges voice to significant challenges for strategic decision making, the conventional strategies to the ineffectiveness of traditional approaches, like the wait and see in the imitation of competitors, may lead to failure, and comprehensive positions are subject to rapid stuff, shifts, and opportunities that closely swiftly. Decision making dilemma. Here, the strategic decision making is so problematic in this environment, not only because the change is dramatic, but difficult to predict the significance of a change occurring soon. Here, the balancing of the risks for acting too quickly against the effectiveness of delaying decisions or copying orders. The leadership dynamics they had a simultaneous empowerment of a crucial, potent top management team, and the balancing risks of implementation has an embrace of risks for successful firm while executing a secure incremental approach. The field investigation and hypothesis. In this study, which is based on a comprehensive field investigation of four microcomputer firms, and it had the hypotheses which were induced to understand how successful firms navigate high velocity environments. The imperative to this hypothesis had three imperatives, which were to make strategic decisions carefully but quickly, to have a powerful, decisive CEOs, and simultaneously powerful top management team, and also to seek risks while executing a safe incremental implementation. The research methodologies. In this study, there are three research methodologies, which comprises of this research design, the data gathering, the data analytics, and presentation. And the research design, this the research design has the dynamics of strategic decision in their natural setting by investigating for microcomputer firms. And this research investigation was done at three levels, and which are the firm, the top management team, and the strategic decision, which was traced to a recent decision. And the firm here has a strategic and performance. Also, the top management team personalizes within the interaction among groups and a strategic decision which traces a recent decision. The data gathering has its major characteristic, which was gathered during the data samples, and it had major characteristics which are involvement in strategic repositioning or redirection of the firm. It also has a high stake that that is the outcome which the executive believe will significantly affect the firm's performance. Also, the involvement of this was traced to strategic decision, and the data analysis and presentation has a search for pattern which was assisted by taking pairs of firm and listing similarities and differences between each pairs. Categorizing the firm on a varieties of dimension, it had two dimensions which are the public or private held dimension and also the size dimension. The public or private firm held dimensions had to do it with the founder run versus the professional management size, and also the size categories, which has to do with the first and the second product generation. Assessing this performance was done by market acceptance, at which some companies measure products, which is also known as order backlog, and also CEO's numerical self-report of company's effectiveness which ranges from 0 to 10 and is compared to a rating given by competitors, and also the sales and profitability, which is a huge analysis on this study. Here we have the four companies and strategic decisions. And the four companies are the Alpha Company, the First Corporation Company, the Maverick Computer Company, and the Zap Computers. I'll start from the Alpha Computer Company. It had a strategic decision of if they should be IBM compatible. The Alpha The Alpha Computers here manufactures a broad line of microcomputers which are related software for financial applications, and this firm has a nationwide direct sales force and is privately held. The Alpha executives are stable coalitions between the sales and the operations and relatively new to firms and the research and development, the R&D team, and finance, who has been in the Alpha companies for years. The Alpha performance has not only measured up to the president expectation, but has carried a strong balance sheet, but its growth has been declining and profitability has dropped steadily over the past years from 17% to 6%, therefore tagged the lowest. And, fast forward to the first corporation, here their decision was if they need a new name. But the first corporation latest product line has met with only modest enthusiasm from the market, and the financial performance has been steadily but unspectacular, and profitability is greater than the profitability in the first corporation is greater than the Alpha self report. And fast forward to the Maverick Computer Companies, which has a strategic decision of what is their new business strategy. Their rationale in this company, their rationale strategic plan was to analyze the competition and also identify the firm's strengths and weaknesses, identifying a target market, understanding user requirement, and also developing a product strategy. And finally, the Zap computers had a strategic decision of if they should go public. The decision made in all these four companies were fully supported by relatively a political top management team, where the ZAP decision here is similar to that of the Mavericks company, and the decision is analyzed and alternatives were considered. Thank you.
Thank you, Chidima. I'll be talking about the five propositions and their hypothesis. The first proposition states that in high velocity environments, effective firms use rational decision making processes. Traditionally, it was believed that in fast paced, uncertain environments, strategic decision making was more reactive. due to information scarcity, leading to a lack of structured planning. The hypotheses for this proposition include: one, in high velocity environment, the more analytic the strategic decision making process, the better the performance of the firm. The analytical approach helps executives cope with and navigate the instability, similar to advice given in psychoanalysis to gain control in a disordered environment. Two, in high velocity environment, the more comprehensive the search for strategic alternatives, the better the performance of the firm. Effective firms employ extensive analysis, tools, and strategic planning efforts. They thoroughly analyze their industries, competitors, strengths, and weaknesses, target markets, and develop comprehensive strategies. Hypothesis 3. In high velocity environments, the clearer and more explicitly calculated the institutional goal, the better the performance of the firm. Successful firms articulate clear and proactive goals. Having explicit goals provide an anchor for actions, which is crucial in times of rapid change. Firms that articulate clear goals tend to perform better in high velocity environments. Proposition 2. In high velocity environments, effective firms try new things. Effective firms, despite environmental pressures, resist rigid responses and are willing to experiment with their environment, sometimes taking high-risk, innovative actions. For example, ZAP introduced the concept of strategic alliance, seeking larger external partners as an alternative to traditional financing. The hypothesis states that in high velocity environment, the more innovative and riskier the set of strategic alternatives examined and chosen, the better the performance of the firm. This hypothesis suggests that under stressful environmental conditions, firms tend to respond with well-learned strategies due to the tendency of executives trying to centralize authority and tighten internal control. In summary, this proposition suggests that effective firms in high velocity environments manage to balance rational decision making with a rise towards innovation and risk taking. Proposition 3, it states that in high velocity environments, effective firms make strategic decisions quickly. This focuses on the decision-making timeline and the apparent contradiction between the need for rational planning and the requirement for quick, effective decisions in high-velocity environments. Its hypothesis states that in high-velocity environments, the shorter the time frame in which strategic decisions are made, the better the performance of the firm. In high-velocity environments, the quicker the time frame within which strategic decisions are made, the better the firm's performance tends to be. Effective executives tend to make decisions rapidly, setting an overall direction in a shorter time frame compared to less effective firms. Proposition 4. In high velocity environments, effective firms build in execution triggers. This focuses on how effective firms in high velocity environments manage decisions execution through structured triggers and their impact on firm performance. Its hypothesis states that in high velocity environments, the greater the articulation of implementation triggers at the time a decision is taken, the better the performance of the firm. Effective firms bring structure to their decision-making process by implementing triggers for decision executions. The greater the articulation of implementation triggers at the time of making strategic decisions, the better the firm's performance. These triggers allow flexibility in keeping implementation options open without distracting management from ongoing activities. Proposition 5. In high velocity environments, effective firms first power to implement strategies in the top management team. Its hypothesis states that in high velocity environments, the greater the delegation of execution that triggers the top management team, the better the performance of the firm. 2. In high velocity environments, the more the power to make functional strategic decisions that are delegated to the functional executive, the better the performance of the firm. 3. In high velocity environments, the greater the power centralization in the chief executive, the greater the level of political behavior among the top management team. 4. In high velocity environments, the greater the political behavior among the top management team, the poorer the performance of the firm. In summary, Proposition 5 focuses on the importance of delegating decision-making authority to functional vice presidents within high-velocity environments. Effective firms display a balance between autocratic decision-making by the CEO and empowering the top management team, resulting in better performance. Conclusion. Strategic decision-making in fast-paced environment is particularly challenging due to the costliness of mistakes and delays. Falling behind in such environment poses significant difficulties in catching up, and imitation is often not feasible. In summary, this article emphasizing the complexity and unique demands of decision making in high velocity environments and suggests that a more comprehensive theory might be developed based on empirical observations and subsequent research. Thank you.
Thank you, Chidima and Blessing. Today, we're going to be applying the paper to the company BlackBerry. BlackBerry, which was formerly known as Research in Motion, was a Canadian multinational company that played a significant role in the development of early smartphones and mobile communication technology. BlackBerry was founded in 1984 and it became known for its innovative and secure communication devices, particularly its line of BlackBerry smartphones. In this analysis, we will delve into BlackBerry's strategic decision-making process within a high-velocity environment and explore the challenges they faced in making effective strategic decisions. We'll also investigate how these challenges contributed to their eventual decline and loss of market share. Challenges BlackBerry faced in high-velocity environment. The mobile industry witnessed rapid technological advancement with new devices and features emerging constantly. BlackBerry had to grapple with the pressure of staying up to date with these technologies. This posed a significant challenge in decision making as they had to choose where to invest their resources and which technologies to adopt. BlackBerry also faced fierce competition from companies like Apple and Android-based manufacturers. These competitors quickly gained market share, challenging BlackBerry's dominance. The competitive landscape necessitated rapid and strategic decisions to maintain their position. Customer preferences were constantly changing, with the touchscreen device and app ecosystem becoming increasingly popular. BlackBerry's traditional keyboard-based smartphone faced declining demand as customers were gravitating towards new touchscreen technology. BlackBerry had to decide whether to adapt to this shift or to stick with its core offerings. All along with this, BlackBerry also had security concerns. BlackBerry was known for its robust security features, catering primarily to businesses, governments, and government customers. However, the company faced increasing cybersecurity threats. This meant continuous investment in security solutions was necessary to maintain their reputation as a secure platform. Now we're going to be looking at BlackBerry's key decision makers. At BlackBerry, the strategic decisions were primarily the responsibility of its top executive, which evolved over time. The most notable figures who held leadership positions and made strategic decisions were Mike, who was the co-founder, alongside with Jim, who was the other co-founder and also the co-CEO. They were involved in various strategic aspects, including business development, partnerships, and marketing. And another notable person was Thorstein, who was the president and CEO of BlackBerry from 2012 to 2013. It is evident that BlackBerry's decision-making process relied heavily on its top executors without major involvement of other stakeholders or employees. Now we're going to be looking at BlackBerry's resistance to adopt touchscreen technology. This transition marked a pivotal point in the company's history as BlackBerry grappled with a decision-making dilemma that defined its future. The reluctance to embrace touchscreen technology was driven from a combination of factors, both internal and external. Decision-making hesitation. BlackBerry's leadership, including co-founders like Mike and Jim, was initially hesitant to deviate from the keyboard design to the touchscreen design. The decision-making process was impeded by the challenge of balancing the company's existing strength with the necessity to adapt to changing customer preferences. Another reason why BlackBerry hesitated to this transitional change is due to their strong brand identity. BlackBerry had established a powerful brand identity with its keyboard-based device. These devices were celebrated for their efficient email capabilities and robust security features. BlackBerry's loyal customer base, primarily composed of corporate and government users, and had developed a deep attachment to these distinctive attributes. As a result, the company was hesitant to jeopardize its well-regarded brand image by abandoning the keyboard-based interface. Another point is the competitive pressure. BlackBerry faced mounting competition from touchscreen smartphones, particularly from Apple's iPhone and Android devices. Initially, BlackBerry underestimated the impact of these competitors and believed that its keyboard devices would maintain their dominance. The competitive pressure was undervalued, leading to delayed decision-making. And finally, BlackBerry's slow response. Their slow response to the touchscreen smartphone trend was relatively sluggish, and by the time that the company made the decision to transition, competitors had already gained a significant foothold in the market. This delayed response added to the complexity of the decision-making process. And finally, we're going to be talking about the output of BlackBerry's decision. BlackBerry's reluctance to embrace touchscreen allowed competitors like Apple's iPhone and Android devices to gain a significant market share. As a result, BlackBerry's own market share began to erode rapidly, especially in the customer segment. The company's failure to adapt to changing consumer preferences led to a perception that it was falling behind in a term of innovation and relevance. This loss of relevance impacted BlackBerry's ability to attract new customers. Moreover, BlackBerry's corporate and government customers, which had been a core part of its user, began to explore alternatives device due to the company's inability to provide touchscreen options. This eroded BlackBerry's stronghold in its lucrative market. The declining market share and revenue in their customer segment, combined with its inability to penetrate the touchscreen market effectively, led to significant financial losses. The company struggled to maintain its profitability and financial stability. To cope with its declining fortunes, BlackBerry was forced to undergo significant layoffs and restructuring efforts. These measures had a negative impact on employee morale and the company's overall reputation. BlackBerry's once dominant position in the smartphone industry eroded as it lagged behind competitors in terms of technology and design. The company lost its competitive edge and its products were seen as outdated. BlackBerry's slow response to changing market dynamic and its resistance to touchscreen damaged its reputation. The company was no longer viewed as an innovator in the smartphone industry, which had a lasting impact on its ability to recover.